All right, Andy, that's what we presumed, a dominant low-post scorer like that. So now the Knicks under a minute to go. What do you think the Knicks should do here?
It's going to be fascinating to watch. I mean, look, they need bigs. They have a lot of holes. I kind of want to give New York what they deserve, right? Every single year we hear them boo the pick. But a guy like Justice Winslow is a guy that has that heart, has that grit. He can play alongside Carmelo Anthony at the 2, and he's a heck of a defender.
I totally agree. The Knicks should take Justice Winslow. He's a versatile player on both ends of the floor. A capable shooter, a really good defender, and also I played against those 90s Knicks teams. New York loves toughness, and he's going to bring that, and he's going to play hard on a nightly basis.
I don't think GM should pick on how not to get booed.
I'm just saying.
That's an impossible task with New York. I
think there's going to be boos in here no matter what.
Yeah. But Jay, we were talking about this before. Every day you watch Bargnani shoot threes, and it's something though, right? I mean, so why not go for somebody who has that grit, who really epitomizes what New York City basketball is about?
But also the rock of their team is Carmelo Anthony. You need somebody on the perimeter to play beside him, and he's a versatile guy that has the ability to do so and the tough skin to play in this town.
All right, Carmelo missed 42 games this past year. Knicks had their worst season in franchise history, only 17 wins. Adam Silver has the pick. It is 4th overall in the draft. Let's see who the Knicks select, and let's also see how this sizable Knicks fan contingent reacts.
With the 4th pick in the 2015 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis from Liepaja, Latvia. He last played for Sevilla in Spain.
The despair on the young Knicks fans' face, and perhaps Kristaps Porzingis can turn these fans around at some point. I almost hate to bring up this little bit of history now, but I'm compelled to do so. Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol were the first European players ever drafted in the lottery. They became All-Stars. Since then, 16 Europeans have been drafted in the lottery, just in the lottery now. None of them have become All-Stars. Kristaps Porzingis said to be different. Some believe, Fran Fraschilla, that he has more upside than anybody in this draft. What say you?
I grew up a Knicks fan in this town. The Knicks stink. They stink. This is a good gamble. Why try to hit a single or double when you may be hitting a grand slam? Now, we realize when you look at him, he looks like an extra in a Dolph Lundgren movie that Jay Billis once starred in. We get that, okay? But you're talking 7'2", okay? 230 pounds, 19 years old. He is as good a shooter as there is in this draft. He's an athlete. He can be a rim protector in time. Is he gonna struggle in his rookie year? Absolutely. But in 2 or 3 years, you have a chance to have somebody that you may have in New York for 12 more years. I like this pick because after Okafor, Towns, and Russell, you are swinging for the fences, and Phil Jackson is earning his money. I like the pick.
Fraschilla definitive that the big fella from Latvia who has made it his goal to play in the NBA. He's worked on English for quite some time. Didn't want that to be a barrier to his development once he made it to the NBA, and he's here. He's told Andy Katz this week that he embraces the opportunity to play in New York. That's assuming that there are no subsequent moves, and Kristaps Porzingis is with Shannon Spain.
That's right, Reese. He told Andy Katz, I want to play in New York. I want you to look around, look at all these fans. This is your future, these folks in here. Why did you want to be with this team so bad?
I mean, it's my dream to play in the New York Knicks, as I said in the interviews before the draft, and it's just an amazing feeling being drafted by the Knicks and given this opportunity to play in such a basketball city, and hopefully I can be a part of something special.
Because there are so many unknowns, because so many people haven't seen you play, obviously there are some hesitations. What do you want people to know about you and your game that they might not know?
for those people who don't know me, they may think that I'm, soft European who likes basketball. They've been busts before, so I'm different. I just really love the game. I'm very hungry. I'm looking forward to playing the best league in the world against the best players in the world, and it's my passion about the game that sets me apart.
Congratulations. He already has his jersey in Reese. He doesn't have a long commute to work tomorrow.
A lot of these guys are going to have to do some traveling. Porzingis has traveled a long way to get to this point, but from Brooklyn to the Knicks, not as much of a distance to travel. Now, the international players, I mentioned European guys only. If you go ahead and expand that to all international players, Yao Ming was an all-star, but that's it in terms of lottery picks, making it to the all-star game. Now, you look at Kristaps Porzingis, and there was a great three-part series, both video and written piece on Grantland, sort of letting people get to know Porzingis and how this has been his goal and how he's developed himself for this opportunity. But you said on a draft preview show last night you were very skeptical about making a pick of a guy like Porzingis this early in the draft.
Him in particular. And here's why. The New York Knicks fans have suffered long enough. Okay, they haven't won a championship since the early 70s. All of the terms I'm hearing about this young man is 2 or 3 years. Rim protector in a couple of years, possibly. A project, real thin. I just felt like they deserved a turnkey type player. And Justice Winslow would have gave him that to play with Carmelo Anthony.
It's going to be interesting to see what Phil Jackson does in free agency. Even if you get a guy like a Greg Monroe, he's a great fit player, but you're not going to turn around this franchise in one day. You have to build for the future. And I would agree with Jill, and I think Porzingis has great upside. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do all that dancing with the basketball when he has somebody on him who's pushing him off the block. He has the skill set of Dirk, the high side. I don't know if he's going to get there, though.
I think the problem is the physical challenge he's going to have to take on in the NBA. I mean, he's really thin. I mean, you can joke, say, he said he was hungry. He better be because he needs to put weight on in a hurry. I mean, his legs are toothpicks. He needs to put a lot of weight on and get stronger. So the physical challenge is the only question I have with him. He's a light rebounder. He's not going to be able to guard in the post right now. So he can take a big guy and stretch the floor and take him out on the floor. The question is on the other end of the floor, what's going to happen when a big guy takes him into the post? Will he be able to hang? In time, he can be really, because he may be the best shooter of any size in this draft. He can really shoot it.
And there's a reason why we didn't have any comparison
move him off the block?
Everybody looks tall next to Franny.
And there's
but it's the skinny thing. It's not the tall. We already know that.
There's a reason why we didn't have comp video for him, because for me, he was a combination of Dirk and Darko. Stay tuned.
So no lean from what you've seen? I mean,
no, not an inch. I wish the young man luck.
Well, the Knicks haven't had a lot of success with their lottery picks. Since 1985, Patrick Ewing, #1 overall. He was an all-star and one of the greatest players ever. But since then, Kenny Walker, Nene, Mike Sweetney, Channing Frye, Danilo Gallinari, Jordan Hill, all lottery picks, none of them all-stars. Now, David Lee picked in the first round, not a lottery pick. But the Knicks haven't done well in the lottery. But as you heard Franny say, this is an opportunity to try to hit the grand slam and perhaps find a guy who can produce at least somewhere like a Dirk Nowitzki if you're going to stick with the European comparisons.
In Phil's defense, all their power forwards and their centers are unrestricted free agents. And none of them actually, I think, are these star kind of players that Porzingis has a chance to be. But yeah, I would go a different direction. I don't know how fans are going to feel about Phil Jackson making this his first big decision as a New York Knicks management.
Okay, so the Knicks...
Greatness. 60 players, John, were drafted. 60 dreams have come true, although I should also point out there are 8.5 million people living in New York City and roughly that many nightmares tonight as well. Stephen A. Smith joins us now. Stephen A., I'm going to ask you very calmly to explain to me what in the good name of Frederick Weiss Phil Jackson did tonight.
Well, first of all, it beats me. Let me be very, very clear. I'm very confused at this pick simply because when I think about Phil Jackson, he made promises that he's simply not keeping. And if I seem a bit agitated, yes, it would happen to be because I'm on vacation and I came off vacation just to talk about this subject because as a native New Yorker, I'm completely disgusted. When I look at this kid, Porzingis, let me be very, very clear about this kid, Porzingis, okay? The kid is talented. He knows how to spread the floor. He's 7'1". He's 220. He can put the ball on the floor. He can spread it. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's got tremendous talent. And in 3 to 5 years, he may very well be big time. But, gentlemen, this is not about that. This is about now. Because when you look at the fact that Phil Jackson picked this individual, you're talking about a project. Phil Jackson in the New York Knicks passed up on at least 4 dudes who are NBA ready now. You got Willie Cauley-Stein. You passed up on him. You got Justice Winslow, who I think is the steal of the draft. You passed up on him, okay? Stanley Roberts out of Arizona. You passed up on him. That's just to name a few. And why did you do this? You did this because of some dude who may or may not be ready in 2 years. A year after you paid Carmelo Anthony $124 million, told the city of New York you were going to be respectable, you were going to contend for a playoff spot within the Eastern Conference, then has the temerity, the unmitigated gall, the disgusting proclamation that you did a great job because you cleaned up the house by tanking the season. And oh, by the way, when you tank the season, you didn't even do that right because 2 of your last 3 games at Atlanta, at Orlando, you lost those 2, basically giving more ping pong balls to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who ended up with the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. New York Knicks fans were at the Barclays Center booing because we recognize that we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived by Phil Jackson and the New York Knicks. That is the situation. That is what is going on, and that is why I stand here on my vacation, blissfully happy until tonight when this happened. Ruined everything. Just ruined it.
Stephen A. worked up. Fran Fraschilla called him hungry. Jay Billis astutely pointed out he better be hungry. He needs to put on quite a bit of weight. Stephen A., the draft, really started at number 2 when the Lakers passed on Jahlil Okafor to go with D'Angelo Russell. LaMarcus Aldridge is rumored to be out there. How do you evaluate the Russell pick to the Lakers?
I actually thought it was a good deal, and I'm a Jahlil Okafor fan, but I got to be honest with you. The Los Angeles Lakers talked about Showtime. It was clear that Mitch Kupchak, Jeannie Buss, and those boys, they need somebody to sell tickets, and it's not going to be in the form of just one player because there's no Kobe Bryant on the immediate horizon. But in D'Angelo Russell, every scout, every NBA official that I've spoken to this evening, and there were at least 10 of them, all said this. This guy, D'Angelo Russell, seems to be 2 steps ahead of everybody in the draft. He knows where you're supposed to be. He knows how to run a show. He knows how to even feed you when you don't think you're open because he knows you're open. The kid's a beautiful player, and I think it's going to contribute to the Los Angeles Lakers being very, very impressive and moving in the right direction.
Stephen A. Smith on a memorable night in New York for just about everyone except New Yorkers. Thanks, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Phil, why Kristaps Porzingis?
He's got the best hip upside that we had available to us. Has a great attitude, good family, working at the game. We understand that, it might take a year, but he's willing to work, and he's got the equipment to do it.
You've heard all the talk about, Darko Milicic and Jan Vesely and a lot of great European prospects that didn't pan out. What makes you think Porzingis is different?
Well, you watch a guy play and you see how he plays, his activity level, that he has a shot, a great stroke, that he has the desire, the willingness, the structure behind him. All those things, I think, work out in his favor.
You've talked about how you want to play here with a certain type of system. How do you see him fitting into the triangle in the system you want to incorporate here?
That's not going to be an issue. That won't be an issue. Offensively, Kristaps going to be fine in whatever we put him into. The big thing about his learning process is going to be defensively.
The other great players that went before him, there are those who say Porzingis has the most upside in the draft and in 10 years will be the best player. Do you believe that's the case?
Well, we want to believe that. The proof is, what happens 5 years down the line. But we like the fact that it was a choice for us. We like the fact that this guy, has the wherewithal, the intestinal fortitude to go after it. That he is, one of these, things that we always used to count on. What's the risk and what's the reward? The reward is great. The risk is great, but the reward's great too.
This is your last pick of the evening right now. Will you guys make any moves to get another pick in the draft tonight?
More than likely. Yeah, we'll get in there.
And not long after Chris talked to Phil, you heard Jeff Goodman report that the Knicks have made a deal, sent Tim Hardaway to the Hawks. They wind up with Jaren Grant. Trade yet to be finalized by the NBA. Okay, well, we're waiting on the Mavericks who are on the clock. What's your reaction to what you heard from Phil?
I'm not mad at Phil because what I heard is I got 11 rings. I can wait 5 years. Or you don't like my pick then.
What are you going to do?
It is what it is. What you going to do?
It's going to take Porzingis more than a year. It's going to take him more than a year.
Well, they hope sooner rather than later, and sooner is when the Dallas Mavericks will.
You don't have to achieve anything. You just gotta have fucked up shit happen to you. So you do have to die, Sid. Those are the rules. New movie, new franchise. There's only room for one lead, and let's face it, your ingenue days, they're over. Don't tell me you didn't know this day would come.
Angela, I'm talking to you. Are you going in the water or aren't you? Huh? Angela, I am waiting for an answer. Yes or no? God damn it, answer me, Angela! Answer me! God damn it, answer me! What the hell's going on here? The little bitch won't answer me. She never answers me.
Oh my God, is that me? Did you do this, Kimber? This is about you not going your whole life wondering what would have happened if you didn't take that chance.
The biggest record company in the world wants to sign us.
You're gonna be famous!
Which one's the real you?
Sing one of your songs.
I don't like being on camera.
Cleaning out is good for the soul and skin.